And we're back for session number 2, cultivating creativity in learning design. I know I'm pretty excited to jump into this. It's an interesting title, so I'm going to get out of the way as quickly as possible. During this session, please do get involved in the chat. Send your questions, send your thoughts, getting chatting to each other. And without further ado, Sharon, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Tom. And it's a pleasure to interact with all of you. While it's virtual, while it's one sided, the chat is always available for us to connect and take this conversation ahead. So, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and I've got a lot of interesting things waiting in line for all of you. Here we go. So today's topic is very non-conventional for me because creativity exists in every experience, and all of us belonging from the learning experience design, creativity plays such a huge role and part in our day-to-day lives. And I would like to walk through the topic in terms of real-time experiences, very less on research point of view, while enough and more research exists in the world saying that why creativity is important and how creativity can help. But I would like to highlight on a few ways, a very non-conventional set of ways where we can cultivate creativity, especially as people who are part of the learning and development industry. I'm gonna hide this. Upfront, let me please also excuse myself. I am down, so there would be a little coughs interrupting. So please pardon that. While I do have my colorful icons really don't say much, but I'm going to press next and start with my introduction, give you a little insight about who I am, where do I come from, and why does creativity is play such an important life. So here are some snippets from work that I've done in the past. Hi everyone, my name I am logging in from India. I'm a learning and development practitioner. The reason I use practitioner is because I love practicing everything that I learn, everything I'm experiencing, everything that I'm seeking out. So, whatever it is, small or big, however simple or complex, I like putting it to practice out there. Right after computer engineering, I finished my undergraduation in that. I jumped into this space. It's been 5 years, been an amazing journey working with corporates and educational institutions. I'm right from the number one to as many as possible that could fit in a given room. The maximum number of been part of curating experiences is 500 plus people in a session that happened for almost 4 to 5 hours in the day.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm not sure quite what's going on. We're going to try and resolve this now. One moment.
Yes.
Hey, sorry about that. You keep disappearing. Bear with me one moment. I don't want you to run ahead and people not know what you're saying. Let's try and get this sorted. Let's try that. Okay.
Would you like to stop my screen share and start?
Yes, please. That'd be good.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. End the screen share. Okay.
So if there was ever any doubt if this was live, there we go. Right, let's try again. If you could share your screen, then we'll pop that
Yes.
up and make sure that's working.
Oh. Am I visible, audible?
Yes, but you disappeared again for a moment. It says the internet it keeps dropping out. Let's see if we can.
Is it something on my end which I can do?
Sorry, everyone watching. Bear with us. We are working on a fix. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
That you're back. There we go. Right.
All right. I'll continue.
I've still not got a screen share come through. Hey, you disappeared again. What I might suggest, can you leave that, go out of the studio, completely refresh the web page, come back
Okay.
in, and we'll see if that fixes it.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you so
Brilliant.
much, everyone.
Thank you. So, as I said at the start, really appreciate everyone's patience during these events. When we do run into technical difficulties, really appreciate that it's it's not fun for us either. But as soon as we have this resolved, we'll get this session running for you again. In the meantime, do let us know in the chat what you're hoping to get out of the session once we get into it. Thanks for the advice, Mia. We're on it. That's on the list of things for us to check. I'm hoping this might resolve it. Brilliant. Okay, you're back. If you could share your screen,
All right.
we'll see if we can get that working. Oh, early in the share. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna try deactivating your video so it's just audio. You don't need to do anything. I'm just gonna do it, and just see if that allows you to hold the connection, because it seems like you're dropping out pretty regularly. That seems to be staying. Okay, no. I'm afraid it's still dropping out.
I did check the Wi-Fi at my end. That seems to be okay.
I'm not sure how else to prevent it.
Okay, so what if I don't do screen share and I talk on a video? Is that all right? Is either one?
Let's try that. Why not?
Sure. Okay. What I will do is maybe post the public view link on the chat so that everyone does have this handy. Okay. Is this better? Am I on video?
Yep, you're on video.
Okay. So, Tom, what if I just WhatsApp you the link? Maybe you could put it out on the chat for everyone. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
So then we can just walk through it. Just give me 1
Fantastic.
second. I'll do that.
There we go.
We will find a way to make it work. Yes, I've WhatsApped you the Canva link.
Fantastic.
And what I will do is...
So everyone, the link is now in the YouTube chat, and it's also going out into the IDTX announcement chat. There we are. So you've all got access to that as we're going through this. I'll hop off the stage and you can carry on.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the ifs and buts and the inconvenience caused, but thank you so much for sticking around and allow me to take this ahead. So on page 3, if you see, that's a little snippet of the work that I have done. I have virtually worked globally, and then face to face and virtually worked with a lot of educational institutions and corporate organizations in India itself, and I have very actively participated in also facilitating these sessions. For everyone. So, little snippets of the program. It's been 5 years since I've been doing this, and now I'm more focused on the overall learning experience design, because delivery and facilitation is one part of it. There's so much more that goes beyond it in the planning, in the execution, in the way we design the experiences for the learners so that the outcomes are met. And today I'm going to talk a little about, so the next slides, if you see slide number 4, talks about how we're going to talk about sparking learner engagement with unconventional methods. So in this scenario today, we all are the learners, and let's see if we are able to apply a few of them to us. And then we extend this to our audiences as well. I always believe that, especially as designers in the learning space, as much as we go through experiences, as much as we understand at the ground level that what is it that is happening, we will be able to create that much more impactful experiences for learners, which are directly either associated with us, or we are creating and curating this whole experience for somebody else as well. The second point which I do want to touch upon and discuss is how we can unleash, excuse me, how we can unleash the power of multimodal learning. So multimodal is combining different modalities to enhance learning and not just stick. So some people, I have heard, it might be very specific to India as well, or I'm not sure whether it's specific to other global markets as well, is that there's a preference over text versus visuals, experiential versus PPT. So there's always been a healthy debate around this, and I feel that there is no modality which we can completely disregard. Every modality, if used with the right intent and the right purpose, will serve a lot of will serve achieving the outcome by the learners as well. And next, we talk about hacking the brain for creative problem solving. I'm talking about page 6. So that's something we are going to do. Is when I say hacking your brain, trying to put a process that our brain understands. And once consciously we start doing this, then subconsciously we also start being a creative person in different ways. And then, last but not the least, we'll talk about how to creatively design experiences using available tools, and then end it with a Q&A. So if you slide down to page 9, where there are two hands pointing across, the goal is that we want to simply come with as many solutions as possible. We want all of your ideas, not just the good ones. Because in the learning experience space, that every idea we do have, it might not be useful today. I understand. It has happened with me as well, that even if I'm in a generative mode and I generate a lot of ideas, I cannot use everything, because there is a concept called as cognitive overload, which can happen at the learner side. So at all points that I am wearing two hats whenever I'm designing an experience. One hat is of the learner's hat, that if I was on that side at the receiving end of this experience, of this learning experience, how would I feel? The second hat is of the person who is delivering it. So if I have to deliver this content, if I have to deliver this experience, how would it be? And the third is, of course, somebody who's completely behind the screens and curating like the whole experience with a bird's view, that okay, if this happens, then it triggers this thing, and that trigger will lead to a certain outcome. So in fact, there are three hats one must wear. So as a learning experience, I know I said two earlier, so there are three hats a learning experience designer must wear. One is of the learner, second is of the facilitator or the presenter who's out there speaking it, taking it to the audience, and the third is the designer who is taking the big view or the bird's eye view up front. So page 10, 11, and 12 actually, so those are the animations, and hence you would see multiple pages. It talks about researchers. There's enough and more research available out there. So researchers would say that different kind of experiences actually stimulates creativity, and there is a phenomena which is called neurogenesis. Neuro, of course, we understand is with the brain, and genesis is something that happens in terms of creation and new beginning. So every creative experience that you do have is a start of neurogenesis. So you are expanding and strengthening your existing neural pathways and creating new ones. Now, because this happens, neuroplasticity as a phenomena also occurs. All of this is like the right kind of workouts for our brain, and it helps us to expand our horizons while thinking and not just think with a very streamlined or with a laser focus. Because as a learning experience design, what I do feel is that we need to have both kind of views, the broader view to understand. So if you remember Sherlock Holmes, whether you've read the book or you would have seen the movies, there's this concept which he applies called the mind palace. Basically, he's able to hold all the information in his head and map it out in a way where he can actually see how things have happened. And that's why that was one of his capabilities of becoming a super detective, because he's able to hold data and understand and visualize them, that okay, because of something that happened, it triggered an outcome later on. So similarly, as learning experience designers, it's important that we also create mind palaces for ourselves, so that we don't literally see everything sequentially, but we're able to have a map kind of a process to see, okay, if it begins here, how does it end, and what are all the pathways that can happen. The second research, of course, talks about that creativity taps into existing knowledge networks and reconfigures them in novel ways. So, to simply explain, any experience that I have, so recently I've been doing this, I try relating it or try creating it with a meme. A meme is something which is very popular, and it's one of the easiest and the most creative way to get your thought process across. Because one, we have a lot of disposal of songs, movies, actors, celebrities, and different instances publicly available to connect it with that meme. So any kind of a corporate meme which has to be generated, so the serial Office or the serial Suits, or even something from Friends is quoted, because it publicly exists. We have got our exposure to it, and now we are able to understand that. So because we have existing knowledge due to our exposure, we are able to actually get into creative mode. So memes is something I personally use, and I'll show you in what ways do I mean. So I actually have a bunch of tools which I wanted to demonstrate, and I'm hoping that the screen share sort of starts working in some time so that I can demo it for all of you. All right, and the third research is talking about how engaging diverse learning styles. So if we engage diverse learning styles, especially with neurodivergent needs, we are actually able to include different kind of sensory inputs, and this actually helps us to build better problem solving and critical thinking skills as well. So here also I would like to share a real time insight. Any activities which I design for my workshops, what I like to do is remove or block one sensory per se. So for example, if there's some activity we are playing, I probably introduce blindfolds over there. So the sensory medium, which is your vision, I remove it from the activity. What that does is it heightens all the other sensory inputs that you receive from your audience, and you actually see a lot of difference in how that activity is played out. So whenever I design workshops, I try to withhold one sensory input so that the other senses actually become heightened. That's again proven medical science and logic out there, and that's one way I include in my activity design, which makes it even more powerful. All right. Now that I've given and set a little research and context saying that this definitely does exist, some conventional researchers and some unconventional researchers out there, let's do a quick warm up to the whole topic and let me walk you through on what my process is. How do I cultivate creativity? The reason, and it's a very specific reason, why did I use cultivate? Because cultivate, like the word stands, is like you're building it, you are growing it, you are making it happen. I'm not going with the exact Oxford Dictionary meaning, but what does that word mean for me? So, cultivating creativity. How do I build creativity in instances around me? Consciously, I used to do that a few years back. Today, subconsciously, it's a part of me, and that's what I am able to bring to my designs as well, both in terms of content, graphics, and the experiences that I design for my clients as well. The the designs that we do is actually a byproduct of who we are. I If I sit down and intentionally design something, yes, there would be a certain output. But I realize that every day as a human being who's experiencing life both personally and professionally through conversations, dialogues, services, um, that is helping me to develop better output. So my design, which I'm designing for a client, so for example, I have an upcoming um, workshop at the end of this month. It's for the senior leadership, and there are certain challenges that they would like to address and certain outcomes we would like to lead ourselves to. Now, when I design that, that designing is not that today I'm going to sit for 5 hours and design that, but my everyday experiences, which helps create that workshop as a byproduct. So every day, what my life is, what I'm indulging in, who I'm exposing myself to, what expertise am I building towards, is helping me curate that experience, which of course I will sit for a couple of hours and put it down on paper. But apart from that, there's nothing like I am researching. So there is a mix of, I would say, good 60% of originality and 40% of research and data available on the internet as well. Okay, I'm going to give you more insight that might have sounded a little confusing. I do acknowledge that. But allow me to break it down and explain it word by word. So on page 13, if you go up, there's something called as a warm up. Now, because the chat is visible to me, let's see if you would like to participate out here. Think about the funniest thing that has happened to you today and share it with the group in 60 seconds or less. So, we are your group, and I am here watching it out. I'll also share what's the funniest thing happened. And let's take 60 seconds and have you type in as well. It could be anything small or big which happened specifically today, which you found it funny. It's all right if nobody understands, why you found it funny. If you found it, come share it with us. Okay. So I'm going to hold the space for you to drop in a message. Okay. Trying to find the HDMI port on my camera was no longer outputting. For me is again related with work and with this conference is I did log in 5-10 minutes earlier, and everything was working. We did a screen share and all, and then voila, 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the session, nothing is. So now I'm like navigating by telling people that okay, here's the page number, and you've got to walk it through it. Okay, so the warm up. So creative always happens. Okay, got it. Suddenly I lost my video for some reason. So creativity happens both through observation and real time experience is when you're actually comfortable and when you're in a space, excuse me, when you're in a space where you feel that your ideas would ridiculed, where there is some kind of an open arm effect saying that yes, you are allowed to share, you are welcome to share. Both when it's spoken and displayed through actions and behavior is when our creativity starts speaking up. But I've also realized that not all environments will be built like that. So, who is it that I want to focus on? I would like to focus on myself, because today, me as an element is in my control. So, there are three E's which I strongly believe in. One is experience, expertise, and exposure. So, the exposure that we have builds our experience, and this experience indirectly and directly builds our expertise as well. So I need to be responsible for myself and decide that which space do I want to be a part of? Which conversation do I want to be a part of? Where do I want to contribute? Where do I want to push myself and think for the group beyond myself? So the person who is in control and who can actually take care of it is I, me, myself. The environment will sort of fall through. When we talk about adaptable, yes, you also have to adjust and be adaptable. But one thing I've both observed, like earlier, I used to read and I used to say, who's going to adjust for me? But if I have a certain outlook and people have now start realizing, because I have started displaying it through behavior, actions, and words, my environment is also now adapting to. So that's something I've realized out there. So moving forward, on page 14, if you see on the next slide, there's something called as pick your choices. So I wanted the statement which I had to write was sort one way to push yourself creatively is everything that you speak, everything that you're imagining, put a visual image to it, put a visual picture to it. Because so sort ideas into buckets. I literally went visual with different graphics. So bucket means that there is a container of sort, a bucket in which something is going. Ideas again is put into a box. The word into is a preposition which I've placed it inside the box. So it can either be written as a sentence, or you can visually connect it with graphics and pictures. In everyday life, both personal and professional, what I have started doing is visualize. So when I tell, so this is a habit I have built with my team members. So I'm the founder of Upskill Studio, and I have a team of 5 to 6 people as well, where we continuously work on research, design, delivery, everything L&D, like an end-to-end L&D solutions and services. So this is a practice we do with my team, is that whatever emotion you're feeling or whatever you want to express, you say that through a meme or a gif. So we use that and the other person takes a guess at it, whether it is what they mean. One, of course, we are in our whole millennial Gen Z era. That's the team I have, and it's also breaks the monotony of writing big messages. I know you, I know how you work, I know how you function. You want to transfer some information to me, rather make it a little fun, because every day we're also working good 8 to 10 hours working on different projects, in and out of meetings, catering to all of that. So when do we actually have time to be a little fun or creative? Now, definitely, our work conversations and our work choices, our family members and loved ones will not really understand, because we know the intricacies of it. So, as a team, for those 8 to 10 hours, we actually do a lot of communication based on memes or pictures which represent what we really want to say, or any emotion which we want to express. So that happens is that effort to actually go through a library which has multiple options and says, I think this suits what I'm feeling, or this will represent what I have to say. So we've just got a level up than an emoji. Sometimes, of course, when time is we are pressed for time, we use emojis, but I'm saying this is one activity we do internally, and it's really helped. So or any phrases that we find online and we feel it's very suited to what we want to feel, what we want to express to each other as well. So all of these smaller behaviors and your creative muscle and the whole neurogenesis part that helps you do that, because somewhere you're visually doing. So I remember that uh, 2 3 days back, or maybe I think a week back, there was some work thing happening, and there were multiple work things happening, and it was a long tough working day as well. So at the end of the day, I sent a meme on my team's group saying that it feels like I'm a soldier holding the fort down. So it's more than saying it in words. I expressed it through a GIF where there's a cartoon soldier at the border who's taking continuous firing in all forms. So those firing represent all the requirements, changes, calls, everything which was happening just back to back, and a lot of things were unscheduled because it was, I think the timing was just perfect where it was happening sequentially. So that's what I sent across, and of course it got in a few laughs. It got us to talking further as well. Moving on to the next one. So, when I say pick your choice, sort ideas into buckets, there are four things I want to focus on. That as a learning experience designer, you need to include either one of it in your experience as well. It makes it very powerful, is what I would say. So, one is your multimodal learning, second is playful learning, third is social learning, and fourth is world problems and scenarios. So, whenever you're designing an experience, stick to one of the buckets and build that up as the primary theme of experience for what is happening out there. So, multimodal learning, like I said, is where you're introducing different modalities. So, certain experiences we have experimented with music, art, sports, food, through which learning transfer also happens. So use a primary thing, and again, this is where your hobbies and your interests would really make a difference. I know a learning experience person. I know a facilitator, I would say, somebody who specializes in communication. She organizes nature walk and talk because she has a deeper connection with nature, and she's combined her professional part out there. So she's created something very unique, which takes it up ahead. So at the same time, we can also do this for ourselves and the designs that we do. So whether you're building any experience for leadership, for educational, for corporates, for new joiners, or for managers, think about what is a medium that they would really relate with. So programs which are designed for colleges and new joiners, they right now are in the age group of millennials and Gen Zs. They understand neon colors, they understand memes. So all of this, I actually have vision boards for different kinds of learners. So Gen X, what kind of learning patterns, visuals do they follow? Boomers, what do they follow? So I have separated it out as generations because it helps me attract and build for a wider audience. Playful learning again is a very important modality and a very important choice as well, because the minute you bring in play as a feature rather than an instruction, it makes things more lively. And as we all know, we've all grown up with play as a primary learning source for all of us. So, introducing play as a methodology, as a meme, so converting any activity with certain rules, instructions, and dynamics, and you make it playful, the interaction level really soars up. So, something even simple as a worksheet activity, there's a certain self reflection or any kind of paper based activity where they need to spend some time putting a timer, not just by saying that, okay, you've got 5 10 minutes, but rather actually displaying a clock on the screen in front of them builds it up. Putting them into pairs, having a quick leadership board or a navigator board, which shows them that which position they are or what is the completion rate by them during these sessions. Even simple things, I'm not saying go highly curated, but something simple as even drawing a certain kind of a board format on a whiteboard gets them in a very playful mode. And that I have seen having a very high interactive and engagement by the learners in the room as well. So what I do is, now how do I figure these things out? I use the help of AI and I check out kids games. So that's one of the places where I cultivate creativity, is that I go back to childhood. Now, here, what I have done as an adult who has access to resources and who knows how to use the internet, this is what I do. I don't just stick to what I know and where I come from. So, in India, there are certain games, certain ideologies, certain rhymes which happen, right? Which I'm aware of because I've grown up in India. But what I actually do is I also check what happened in the US. I go check out kids' curriculum and games, what happens in Norway or what happens in Germany, because these cultures, different kinds of cultures, also define different learning experiences right from kids. So maybe Germany and India have that common childhood game which we're used to playing. The names might be different, but the rules might be completely different as well. The look and feel could be very similar, but the rules are different, the way it's played is different. So I actually go and check different kids game or games which kids play during pastime or during school, and map it with my learning experience. So those rules I also map it up with my activities and worksheets. That's one of the way I cultivate creativity in my learning experience. Third is social learning. The very high focus is um, the very high focus on social learning is peer to peer. And so what I do is, there's one is individual participation and contribution, second is break them into pairs, third is break them into triads, and fourth is then club triads together and start building a bigger group. So different kinds of social learning gets promoted out here. To support these, I'm just going to excuse myself and thank you. So one of the way I promote social learning is also connected with facilitative processes like World Cafe, Gallery Walk, or Ambassador Walk. So it allows for very high levels of social learning to happen, along with, of course, group discussions are in place. Next is word problems and scenarios, connecting it with real time world problems and scenarios. So if I am addressing an audience from an IT company, then different IT companies, either in the same country or in different countries who could also be their competitors in the market, what scenarios are they going through? What problems exist in their world? So, those are the things that we bring it up. Or another way is, if we already get inputs that what are some scenarios at the workplace that occur here, I convert them into stories using AI. So in AI, I give the prompt, any of the content writing AI, the couple of them which I use, Copy AI, ChatGPT is there. Bard has changed into Gemini now. So these three is what I prefer on, and it's very easily accessible. What I tell it is to give me a corporate story which has this information and it has characters built. And the characters, so there would be scenarios where people are involved. So, for example, the leadership team is undergoing a lot of change management due to revised policies, and now that effect is trickling down to its managers and its frontline employees. So there are people involved. What I also ask AI to do is build me character personas, and basis on my experience and exposure to different people across industries, I give them specific. So that's where my knowledge base as a behavioral skills facilitator, or somebody who understands psychology, somebody who understands learning styles and adult pedagogies, I will put in my inputs saying that what kind of kind of behavior do I want this character persona to showcase. What AI simply does is put together all of this in words for me, and then gives me a complete story, which then I create into illustrations. Because of course you can imagine 3-4 pages of text, giving this to somebody is torture in itself. So I keep a part of the story, the rest I do like a comic strip or a storyboard, so that they understand what this is about. And then we take this up ahead and do either role plays or scenario discussions in the workshops or delivery sessions that happen. So that's what I mean by world problems and scenarios. Moving on to the next slide. So one of the problem, or I would like to call is a challenge statement, is that because we are extremely busy, because we get involved in repetitive work again and again. So while I like facilitating, if I'm facilitating and delivering again and again and very frequently, it is very monotonous for me. Now in this monotony, what happens is lack of research, lack of exposure. I'm not able to talk to people, I'm not able to connect with people, I'm not able to take out some time to even ground myself. So what it actually means is that even as a facilitator, if I continue to facilitate back to back, I'm actually stopping to experience. My experiences are stopping, and I'm actually stopping the whole process where I'm feeling the world around me. Because every day I need to get up, have some PPTs, have some props, go facilitate a session, or every day I'm getting up, writing content, submitting content, reviewing content, and sending content back. So, whatever work we are doing under the banner of learning experience design or under the banner of learning and development, if we repetitively do the same thing, then our creativity, we're allowing it to die, because we're not finding space, we're not taking out time. Excuse me. So, we're not taking out time now. Because of this, what happens is once this monotony strikes in, we're allowing our creative battery to die. We almost bring it down to a red zone, or we drain ourselves, and then we feel the pinch of not being able to generate new ideas, not being able to have fun in our work. So that's something I strongly recommend. So last 3 weeks I have been in back-to-back facilitation deliveries, but now for the next 3 weeks to 4 months, I'm not into facilitation, but I'm into research and design. So I consciously plan my weeks accordingly and take things up ahead. So if I facilitated for a certain period, then the next kind of work I do continuously for some time, so that in that space I am energized and I build in my creative spark to take things ahead. So time blocking, not just like chunks of time, but in our case, if you block out certain weeks on how you want to plan it out, it will support you. Now apart from that, very quickly I'm going to walk through this, is that once there's a certain idea, once there's a certain inspiration, have an individual brainstorming session with yourself, and try writing down as many solutions as possible. So, what is happening, what you want to do, where do you think this will go, or what all do you think you are able to do. Then invite small group discussion, invite your close colleagues, who you are associated with, and you could actually sit down and have a round of sharing and an understanding of what is happening. Now this is a conversation which is not only useful for you, but something that they will also benefit from. Extend it to a bigger group discussion. So I'll give you a personal example. So there's a certain L&D concept which I'm right now brewing and I am building upon. So I have listed down how I want it. So I've listed down multiple solutions, multiple problem areas, and multiple Kickstarter issues, because I don't know where to get it kickstarted and how to take it. I have invited a couple of my very close peers in the L&D space, not necessarily who are working alongside with me or under the brand, but who are people of the L&D community. So we are a group of 5-6 people who are now discussing these ideas. and these discussion. So there are two networking events in LND which I'll be attending by end of this month. So there's some kind of a structure, and now I'm gonna speak about it, not on the stage, but I have a bigger group of audience of known and unknown people in these two networking events, and I'm going to talk out there. So all discussion does not have to be structured discussion. It can also be a combination of structured and informal discussions, which will give you clarity. Come back to the drawing board and then reflect upon what is it that you could do about it. um, on page 22 there's a colorful 21 boxes. So this is something, some of the things I've definitely done, some of the things I'm waiting to do. So this is like a creative bingo which I created for all of you here, where every day you could take one task and do this, which will expand your creative muscle, which will exercise your creative muscle to think beyond and to think differently. So all of these are doable challenges, and all of it directly, indirectly will impact the way you also design. So I've seen a lot of difference. The reason it's 21 days is because science also says 21 days helps you build a habit. So the whole idea is that this will help you build that habit per se. Apart from this, what I do did want to share with all of you. So yesterday I came across a very interesting LinkedIn post, which it was published under the Butter community, and it had certain tools online, certain online tools for I'll just read it out because I think the whole share screen thing might still be an issue. So the first is the Serendipity machine. If you just put it on Google, they're just flashcards which you can keep changing the questions and answer it for yourself. The more illustrative, the more visual that you get, it definitely helps you. And the next one, which I really liked, was Stoke Deck. It's a green color website, stokedeck.io. And way it is done very beautifully built as well. So these allow for Stokes is nothing but the beginning of creativity. So it sets a ground for creativity to definitely take place. And last but check say
Sorry, everyone, we're sorting this out now. Hi, Sharon. Sorry, you're breaking up so often. I don't think anyone can actually understand what's being said.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, there we go. I can hear you now. Let's go for now, and I'll let you know if it breaks up again.
Okay, we are anyway towards the end. I think I will just take another 3 minutes. So what I will do is probably post all of these links as well. But if you go to the Butter community, you will find it out there. My apologies for the horrible Wi-Fi network. While I set everything up, I don't know where it's glitching. So probably I'll check it up post this. But all in all, so one of my very favorite ways to build creativity in everyday scenario is I take pictures of objects, or whether it is a paper clip which I find at my work desk. I click a picture and upload it on Gemini, which is the AI tool by Google, just like we have ChatGPT. And I ask it, what do you find creative about this object? So one is I'm checking AI, if they can actually, and the way the picture is taken, the AI analyzes it and it tells me. So I was holding my coffee mug against the floor, so a lot of earthy tones were captured, and then it analyzes that and gives me a lot of insights. So nowadays I've started playing around and experimenting with that. So that's another thing, you could definitely use, and all of this does add up creativity in your learning experience design, because if we make creativity as a center part of our day-to-day lives, consciously while we build over it, subconsciously we are also developing ourselves and becoming experts in creating experiences for audiences across breadth and verticals in different scenarios as well. So the more we experience, the better experiences we can help create. So that's something I wanted to share from my side. Once again, really sorry for all the glitches that is happening. But you can find me on LinkedIn at Sharon Matthew. And if there's something additional that I could help beyond this, very happy to do so. Thank you so much. And that's it from my side.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for that. Thank you for sharing the Canva link as well. I think that gives a good resource that people can go to see the things that you were talking about. I was just going through it as you were speaking. So thank you, everyone. We do now have a bit of a break. Our next session is at 1:30 GMT with Anna from Screencast to Podcasts: How to Choose the Training Format That Really Works. So we shall see you all then. Thank you all once again. iSpring is an e-learning software provider dedicated to streamlining e-learning worldwide. With a team of top industry specialists, they create tools that make e-learning both efficient and enjoyable. Their AI-powered course creation tool, iSpring Suite, and the iSpring Learn LMS are the top choices for thousands of instructional designers, L&D pros, and content developers. Crafted with the user workflow in mind, iSpring ensures a seamless experience for the creation of impactful learning content. Their website, iSpringSolutions.com, offers a treasure trove of e-learning resources perfect for those seeking to boost their L&D career or elevate their organization's e-learning practices. You can check out the iSpring Solutions website using the link in the description below.